Hi guys, welcome back. So today I've got another video for you. We're going to be creating this landing page. All the effects you see on this page are done with vanilla JavaScript, okay? So no GSAF or anything. See, we've got these nice kind of transitions. This image kind of just fades in like so. And then we have these kind of links here that fade in. And yeah, I just wanted to just show you guys how you can create these kind of transitions just with vanilla JavaScript, no libraries or anything like that. So I hope you enjoy and let's get going. Cheers guys. Okay guys, so to get started with this project, I just got the three usual files again. So we have the app.js, index.html, style.css files, and then I also just have this one image of these kind of red mountains which I got from unsplash.com. Okay, just cut into our index.html, get a boilerplate up and running, and then as always link to our style.css at the top, and then we want to link to our app.js file in the bottom of the body as well, so script source app.js. Okay, and then I'm also just going to apply this Poppins font again from Google Fonts. I'll take this one here, this medium 500 version. We'll get the link, and then I'll just pop that in my header section here, and then we'll also just put this in the global settings of our style.css as well. Okay, like so, font family Poppins in our global settings of our CSS. And come back to our HTML file. I'm just going to change the title here to Conor Bailey. It's going to be like a portfolio website landing page. And then in the body section, the first element we want here is we're just going to take the left portion of the screen. Okay, so I'll get this div, I'll give it a class of home left, and this is going to contain multiple other elements. So we have here a header section with a class of header, and this header section is going to contain a div with a class of logo, which embeds a h1 element with my name, Conor Bailey. It's then going to house a nav section here with two links. As you can see here, we have portfolio and contact, and then underneath this header section, we're going to have a left container, okay, and this is going to contain a h1 with my website details, and then another div with a class of CTA for call to action, and this is going to be like a button that the user can click. Okay, let's just open this in a live server. Okay, so not looking like much at the moment. Let's underneath this, we're going to next add one more div underneath the home left section here, and this is going to contain our image. Okay, so we have given this main div a class of image container. We have another div with a class of overlay. This is going to be used to kind of transition or create a transition effect for our image. And then we have an image tag underneath with the source set to cover image, okay, which is the picture of our mountains here. Okay, so let me save that. You can see our image appears there on the screen. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is kind of underneath this. We have one more section, and this is going to house our kind of social media links. Okay, so we have a div with a class of socials, and then within this div we have this unordered list here containing three list elements, each with a class of link to Facebook, LinkedIn, and GitHub, like so. And there you go. That's basically our skeleton done. Our markup's complete. Let's move on to the CSS. So first thing we want to do in our CSS file is just reset the kind of default margins and paddings, that kind of thing. So we'll say margin 0, padding 0, box size in border box. And then kind of underneath this, we're going to just set our body in HTML background color to this kind of dark grey, so 0E, 0E, 10. Okay, but to be honest, I want that to just stay, just keep that white for now so we can see kind of some of the amendments we make. And then we're going to set our H1 underneath this. Font size of 1.5 rem just to make it a bit smaller. And then the next one we'll do is set our anchor tag elements. And here I'm just setting their color to black and text decoration none to remove these underlines. And then underneath this, we will next select the header section. And header here, I've just set the position to relative, top of 20 pixels, a width of 100%, a height of 6 rem, and opacity of 0. Okay, let's remove that opacity a second. So the reason I've set the opacity at 0 and the top at 20 pixels is because we're going to be using JavaScript to fade this in. So when the page loads, this section here will appear to fade in, and we're also going to set the top to 0 once the animation is complete, so it'll give it a sliding up effect. Okay, that's why we're setting those there like that for now. And then if we come underneath this, we'll just select our logo next, so dot logo. Let me just comment that out. We're going to position this logo absolute, so it's relative to the header, bottom of 0 and left of 18%. Okay, so that's our logo there. This will change in a minute because we're going to set our header to fill half of the screen. Okay, we're going to position this header relative to the this home left container div here. Okay, so kind of underneath this, let's next select our nav element. Okay, and what we're doing with this nav, so this contains these two links here. We're positioning those absolute, right 0, bottom 0, and we're displaying flex, and we're filling this to 50% of the actual header section, and we're justifying the content to space around just to give it that nice kind of even spacing. Okay, and then if we come back in, so underneath the nav, next thing we want to do is select the home left element. Okay, and we're going to position this relative. And when the page loads, we get this is going to start left of 55%, okay? And the width of this element is 55%. So this will be, we won't be able to see this when we first load the page. It will be left to the 55% off the left-hand side of the screen. We've got the height here at 100 viewport heights, background color of white, and animation. We'll do that part in a second, but basically we're going to create this slide perm animation. It's going to last for 2 seconds. And we're using this forward setting here, so it's basically the settings stay in place. Okay, it doesn't do any looping or anything like that. Okay, let me just make that 0 for now. Okay, and then also I'm just going to uncomment this as well. Okay, so you can see now 55% of our page is taken up by that div, and the rest of it we have our black background as before. Okay, I'm just going to take this actually off. I'm going to make that opacity again, and I'm going to take this off again to the side, so minus 55% here. Okay, because I don't want to see that for now. And then next thing we want to do is look at our image container. So dot image container. We're going to position this absolute to take it out of the flow of the actual flow of the HTML. And then we want to set the left of 10%, top 20%, width of 60% of the screen, height of 500 pixels, overflow hidden, that's very important here, and a z-index of 2. And there's our image. Okay, and then coming underneath this, we're next going to select our actual image. And we're going to position this absolute, so it's positioned basically relative to our image container here. And we're going to start off our image by minus 100%, okay? So it will take this to the left-hand side. You won't be able to see it. And that's why we're using this overflow hidden. If we remove this, you'll see the image. We can still see it there. That's why we're making this overflow hidden, because we want this to transition in, okay? And then we have a width of 100% for the image. And then I've just kind of applied a filter grayscale, okay? Just to make it a bit more black and white. Okay, so that's just down to personal choice, just to show what that does. For example, let me just, yeah, that's without any grayscale. And then if we apply it, you can see we've just got a slight, actually I think let's give it like that for now, we can always change it. And then underneath this, we're going to select our overlay next. I just want this to be minus 100% actually, as before. Let's come underneath this, we'll select our overlay, .overlay, and again position absolute, z-index of 4 to this, top of 0, again we're starting it off at left 100%, width of 100%, that should be 500 pixels like the top here, the container, background colour of black, and then we're starting this off, we'll just have an opacity of 1 for this. Okay, and then left container. So the left container was add, where is it? That's here. So that just contains our kind of H1 with our website link and our call to action button. So here we just position this absolute, z-index of 5 to bring it in front of the image, width of 100%, background color of white, bottom of 0, and a height of 35%. Okay, so just to show you what that does, let's just bring in our home left section again. That's just this portion here, okay? And then let's move that back off. And then kind of underneath this, we're just going to do some styling for our call to action as well. So this is our button. And here we just position this relative to our left container. Top of 20 pixels, we're going to give it a margin top of 1 rem, a padding of 0.5 rem, a width of 8 rem, text align center, and I'm giving it a background color of this kind of 482, this kind of reddy color, and then the text color of white. And again, we're starting off the opacity at 0 because we want to transition this in, we want to do some like kind of fading effect when our page loads. And we're going to just apply the same kind of settings to my site section here, which is the actual our web address. And you can see here for both of these elements, I'm positioning them relative first, top 20 pixels, as we're going to be applying the kind of animation. So when the animation's when we apply the animation effect, it's going to move the top to 0 and the opacity is going to be 1 to fade it in, okay? And next we want to do is just the socials next. Okay. Once again, these are the socials here. So I've positioned them absolute, left at 80% this time, top of 50%, height of 50% and the colour of white for the text. And then the socials UL. And then a height of 100%, display flex. And then I'm just kind of doing this flex direction column and space around just to get a nice even space in. So if we just take this off here, you'll see I've also got this list style none as well. So now you can see we get this nice kind of spaced out effect. And then for each link, so link, we're just going to position them relative, top 20 pixels again, as we're going to apply the kind of fading up, slide up effect. And that should be, and yeah, I've just got the opacity at 0 now. We don't need this color tag in there. Don't know why that's like that. Okay, so, and then come underneath this, I also just want to apply some hover effect to our links as well. So for our hover links, we're just going to set the opacity at 0.6 and have a cursor of pointer, okay? So you can see now when we hover, we get that kind of hover effect, okay? So we're nearly done with the CSS, guys. And then I just want to set an active class next. And this is the class we're going to be applying, okay? So as I said before, when we apply these animations to these elements, we're going to say position relative, top 0 and opacity 1, transition of 0.5 seconds, okay? So this is what's going to be applying the kind of fade up effect to our elements on our landing page. And then last two things we have to do here is just create our animations we referenced earlier. So here I have keyframe slide at 0%. We're going to say the position is left of -100. At 25% left is -100 again. 75% left at 0 and 100% left at 0 as well. And then we also want a permanent version of this as well, okay? So come underneath here. I've just got a permanent version of the same thing, but instead of moving the left to 100%, at the 100% point, we're keeping our image in place, or our element in place at 0, okay? So it stays there. And you'll see we reference these animations. You can see we have the, for our home left container, we have this slide perm element. And I believe that's it for now. We're going to apply this keyframe animation with JavaScript in the next section, okay? So nothing much is going on at the moment. You can see when we refresh our page, we just get this kind of left div slide in, okay? So that's that slide perm animation. Now we're going to use JavaScript to create the rest, okay? So if we go into our app.js file, and the first thing we want to do here is just get our elements, okay? So we're going to say let header equals document.querySelector.header. Let site equals document.querySelector.site. That's our, you remember that's our address section here. And then we also have let CTA equals action equals document.querySelector.call-to-action. Okay, the next thing I want to do, I've got two more selectors underneath this. So the first we want to select is our image overlay. I'm saying that's document.querySelector, image container, and then we're selecting the first child element. So .children, and if we put a 0 in curly brackets, that will select our first child element. So in our image container, that overlay will reference this child element here. It's this overlay div. Okay, so that's why we're saying image overlay. And then the main image is the second child element. So put 1 in curly brackets, and that's our actual main image. So you'll see here, the second child element is our image tag here. Okay, and then kind of underneath this, we just want to select our links as well. So our social media links. And here we're just saying links is array.from document.querySelectorAll.link. Okay. And then kind of underneath this, we're going to create a function next called animate. Okay, now the first thing we want to do in this animate function is going to create a set timeout. Okay, and then here we're going to say header.classList.add, and we're going to add that active class to our header. Okay, and then what else we want to say here is I'm going to say image overlay dot style dot, I don't know why it does that, dot style dot animation, and that's going to equal, and we're going to say here slide 1 second forwards. Okay, like so. So that slide 1 second forwards, you'll see we created this slide animation here. So this keyframe slide, and that's just going to apply this animation effect to our image overlay. Okay, so and then also what we want to do here is just say main image, and again we're going to set the dot style dot animation, and here we're going to say slide perm 1 second forwards, like so. And then after this, we just want to give this a time. So we'll say 2000 milliseconds. That's 2 seconds. And then what I want to do here is I'll just call this animate function down the bottom. So now you should see our image slides in like so. Okay. I think that's okay. And then kind of underneath this, I'm not sure why our image isn't showing up. Sorry guys, bear with me a second. We should be getting our image appear after that. Let's just see what's going on there. Let's see, cannot set property animation of undefined. Okay, so it's not picking up our image for some reason. Let's see what's going on there. Let's see if we're picking that up. Should be. Okay. Why is it not liking that? Main image dot style dot animation. It's because I spelled style wrong. Sorry, guys. Okay, now it should work. You can see we get our image appear like so. So if we refresh that again, and there you go. Okay, so let's move on to the rest. So kind of underneath this, we're going to set another timeout. So we'll say set timeout here. And here we're going to say site.classList.add. going to say active again. And then underneath that, we're also going to do our call to action as well. So we'll say CTA. It's the same bit of code, but just CTA this time. CTA. And then here we'll set the timeout to, say, 3 seconds. So that should fade in now. You can see we get that fading effect there as well. And then underneath this, next thing we want to do is just select our social media elements, okay? So we're going to say here, links.forEach link. I'm going to say link in there, and then we'll say set timeout, and then do a callback function. And here we're just going to say link.classList as before, .add. We're just going to say active again. And here we're going to just give this a gradual fading effect for each link, okay? So what I'm going to say here is, actually want to pass in the index as well within this for each method. So I say index like so. And then here I'm just going to say idx times 200, and then still come after that, idx times 200. And then I'm going to just say plus. Okay, so now we should get these links fading in. You can see, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so what I'm doing there with that links.forEach, I'm basically just times in the index, so just by 200 for the milliseconds, and I'm just adding like 2,500 milliseconds just so it's kind of in line with the rest of the element reveals, okay? So that's basically it, guys. That's how you can kind of apply these transition effects to your landing page with vanilla JavaScript. Yeah, I think, you know, some people use GSAP for this. I don't see the need really if you can just do it with your own JavaScript, so it looks okay to me. But yeah, if you've got any questions, guys, just leave it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer. But yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.